We often have no idea what God's timing looks like. We might start a project and not have any idea what that's going to look like when it comes to fruition. One of the things that we see in Men's Alliance is men who have a desire to start a tribe in their area, and they have this desire on their heart to help men get out of isolation and lead them to a place where they have a stronger relationship with God and are following Jesus in a more meaningful way. They have a desire to help men be better husbands, and fathers, and leaders. And sometimes this plays out where they are launching tribes really quickly, days even or weeks. And it's really great to celebrate those times when everything falls together and everything comes together quickly. It's equally as awesome when it takes a while, and sometimes it's months, and we've even seen years go by, or a year go by, before a man launches a tribe. And one of the things that we impress upon men when they're going through a time where it's taking longer to launch is that God is in control, right? This is all God's timing. So God will bring the right men, the right leaders at the right time to launch a tribe. And once you give that over to God, there is this release of stress because you're not in charge of that. And oh, by the way, you were never in charge of it, right? God is in control. He's in charge, and whatever mission God has put you on, if you just leave it to Him, if you put Him in charge, if you make Him the CEO of this project, whatever it is you're doing, you can just rest on the fact that you do what you do and you let Him do what He does. Again, we see this time and time again where He brings just the right leaders in just the right time. So God has this plan. God's timing is perfect, and it's something that we often don't see while we're going through it. It makes me think of the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth and the promise that they had for a baby. At the time receiving the message, it was laughable that they could have a baby at their age, but they held on to God's promise, and they trusted God, and they left that in His hands, and He was faithful. We put together our plans, and that's good. Being a follower of Jesus, we are called to do good works, and we need to work on whatever God has put on our hearts. I had a really great career in corporate America, and I had a plan to leave the corporation at a certain time in my life. And it was about 2 years prior to that time when I felt God calling me to leave the corporation and go into full-time ministry. this made no sense from a practical point of view. When I looked at my savings, when I looked at different aspects of my life and where I was at and where my career was at, it was logical for me to keep on working. Um, and I could not shake this sense that God was calling me into something different. And one of the things that I look back on and getting confirmation from my wife. That conversation in the beginning, as you could imagine, was really hard, and it didn't take her very long to come to the conclusion, like, hey, if this is God's plan for you, this is what we need to do. And so leaving that corporate world, leaving a really good paying, comfortable corporate job and stepping into something that I had never done before, and would have never imagined God using me in this way at this time in my life. It was just a complete, hey, you are in control, God, and I'll follow you wherever you go. And so when I think about God's timing, it's something that we can't see and can't imagine in while we're going through it, because often it makes no sense from a human standpoint. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose." Again, often God's timing makes no sense from a logical point of view. I wanted to encourage you that if God has placed something on your heart, that you go for it. Right? He will make a way. It says God gives us the desires of our heart. So if He has put a desire on your heart to do men's ministry or work with children without dads, or to help people through disaster relief, or whatever he has put on your heart, get good counsel. Tell those around you that you're thinking about this, and pray about it, and go for it. God will make it work in His timing.